have gone live. Morning. Morning. Don't tell Ned. Hi, Gabrielle. Morning, Ellery Jones. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Union Jack Ranger. Shady's back. Back for a moment. I'm back for a moment. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Becca Kemp. Hi, Beth Scammell. I've got very blurry eyesight. Denise Nelson Gale. How are you, my darling? Thank you for your lovely messages. Lior, Stuart G, Trina Cotton, Joe Pardon, Kelly Davies, Amy Betts Illingworth, Sharon Nar, Ellery Jones, Jens Market. Sorry, I just got getting texts from Lisa. Oh, morning, everyone. Look at you all. LaSonia Hart, Belinda Adams, Fiona Cromack, Bridget Rochford, Sue Smith, Steph for Mind UK. Oh, hi, everyone. Look, here's the deal. I'm fragile. Just gonna put that out there. But I really wanted to talk. The house is so quiet. Obviously, Nads and the guys are in Brighton. And, you know, I thought, I'm in control of my own destiny, aren't I, in some sense? So why don't I touch base with all those lovely, lovely people, all of you who've sent me so many lovely messages, and I've been feeling so much of your support. So I thought, sod it, let's just do a little chat, a little chimag, a little chat on this Bank Holiday Monday. Because I was feeling a little bit lonely. And if you're feeling a bit lonely, that's the nice side of social media, isn't it? You can reach out and talk to people. So, status report. I'm off to see a psychiatrist tomorrow morning, who is going to. I had a telephone assessment, but the soonest I could see anyone was tomorrow, and I'll be being assessed essentially for diagnosis, but also a sort of a more accurate diagnosis, because of course we've been moving along. Sorry, just one sec. We've just been moving along the lines of what my CBT therapist and my doctor were talking about in terms of how they defined my mental health. And that was obviously a few years back now. So we're looking for a kind of more up-to-date assessment. I'm a bit drifty and I'm a bit lacking in focus. But there we go. That's obviously because the wiring in my brain's a little bit, so I'm not going to be too hard on myself, Claire. I just thought it'd be nice to say hello to you all, really. And yeah, there's that Toffee growling. Where's Toffee growling? Toffs. It's because Chi-Chi's coming, because they're having esophagus wars. Guys. Do you remember video cassettes? Do you remember video cassettes? I used to love, I remember there being a time when I hated video cassettes. I'm going to confess, I remember seeing E.T. at the age of 11 on a pirated VHS cassette that my mum's then girlfriend, Wendy, God knows where she got it from, had found it. And I remember, and it must have been about, 1982 or thereabouts, or 81? It was a terrible copy. You heard people talking, and it come from America. Back in the day when, films from America took freaking ages to get over here. None of this streaming and all that kind of stuff. But do you remember the old top loader? Do you remember that? The top loader VHS machine. Has anyone still got one? Missed you, Grandma Rosie's channel too. Thank you, Steph for Mind UK. I'm a vinyl girl. I'm a vinyl boy. I like vinyl. But I've been told cassettes make. I know. Who'd have thought that the audio cassette would have made a comeback, hey? Steve Charlton, I miss video stores. Yeah, I think I do. Who'd have thought Blockbusters and the corner video store would become? That's where Quentin Tarantino worked, wasn't it? In a video store. MT, thank you very much. It's so good to see you all. As I say, I'm going to take it easy. We're just going to have a little stroll through a couple of things that drew my attention this morning. Susan Norton, thank you. We're always here to keep you company. Laura Carter, private films, they're naughty. Blockbusters, yeah. And do you remember, I seem to remember us having a Blockbusters card, and every time I'd go in, there'd be a film overdue that would then go into a tailspin trying to find. It was a bit like having a book from the library, wasn't it? You had a library ticket. Steve Charlton, you had a Ferguson top loader. You have your parents' Betamax. Well, Betamax was kind of just before VHS, wasn't it? I'm having, believe it or not, I'm having caffeine free. Hi Mark, nice to see you. Hope you're looking after yourself. Dragon Rose, thank you very much. I'm taking it very, very, very easy rather. I mean, as I said, we're going to talk about rewind the tape. Yeah, rewinding the tape. Let's have another look at that scene. And do you remember you'd be able to pause, and there would just be that sort of feedback. Holly, oh my God, Holly, you've had a long COVID and been in and out of hospital. Holly, how nice to see your name back. Sending you a big hello. I don't know if you know, I've been in a weird place in the last couple of weeks. But starting the road to recovery. And also, thank you so much for all of your messages on Instagram. You know, I'm just sharing bits and bobs. Obviously, we're not sharing everything about it. But just, again, it's that important. I found myself, because I've been looking on my phone and stuff, going down sort of various rabbit holes of various people's Instagram accounts. And even the most, I've noticed, there's this thing, even the most well-meaning of people who would hate to think that how they demonstrate their life as looking nigh on perfect, it's very intimidating. I think, for example, I got really intimidated by Fern Cotton doing the most remarkable yoga move in her ability and attempts to hold mental crisis at bay. This is all about me. It's not about her. This is all about me, not about her. And it got me really annoyed, because I was thinking, how is anyone going to be able to match that yogic perfection? I mean, if it made me not want to try yoga again, surely it would make the vast majority. Anyway, so my point being, which we're gonna obviously share some of what's been going on, but I'm still in it, and I'm having great big sort of absences. And I think the best way to describe it is, it's not like a brain attack, it's not like a stroke or anything like that, but it's like scrambled thinking, and it's like a scrambled brain. It's like I have so many meticulously sort of organized boxes and cabinets and things in my brain, and it's like someone's come in and pulled them all out and thrown them everywhere, and rather than it all just being like, ugh, it just feels like that. And that's what was strange, and that's what marked this as a very different episode, is because I ground to a halt rather than becoming more manic. So anyway, but well, not by the end of tomorrow, but tomorrow is the start of the ascent again. Holly, I've been watching, and I've made you some art that I'll send on Insta. I've been down to, as I've not even been allowed to walk for over 4 months. My God, Holly, can everyone send Holly all of our love and support? She's been, in the early days of COVID, she was such a key part of our chats, our lives, our quizzes, our trying to get to terms with the variants, the virus and all that kind of stuff. So, Miss One Tricia, morning Mark, lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you too, thank you. Jane Bart, Derbyshire. I call it my scrambled egg brain when it comes to visit me. Yeah, and also Lucy Miller, one of the other things is, I mean, it's part of the reason we enjoy what we do on all of our things, is we can talk for Britain. I couldn't talk. I literally couldn't talk. I couldn't verbalize what was going on. It was I mean, I don't want to get wanky, but it was literally non-linguistic. I couldn't pin it down. I couldn't talk to people. I just couldn't process anything. Ineffable hippoos. Perfect word for it, ineffable. So some of the things I've been Russ, my brain was exhausted. Thank you, Russ, and thank you so much for reaching out. And there's so many messages. I mean, obviously, I can't answer all of them, but I have a good old stab at it. And you know, it's key to me that I just sort of, all I'm going to be posting on Instagram is just little snippets of you know, moments of, you know, I don't know, enlightenment or whatever. I took myself for a walk. I had no intention yesterday of going to the Tate. I just took myself for a walk. Wanted to walk along the river, make sure I didn't want to throw myself in it. And the Tate was open, and I just thought, oh, fuck it, let's just go in. It's a great distraction. So, Stuart G, your health anxiety is a bit high today. Okay, well, there's one story in here today, Stuart G, maybe best not to look at, the last one. I just wanted to have a chat. I wanted to catch up with you, and I wanted to say an enormous thank you just from me. Bless Lisa and Nads. Nads, I think Nads has done a remarkably kind thing of just picking up where she can the channel, keeping you guys informed, and at the same time sort of respecting what we're going through. And, you know, for that, I'm really grateful. So I'm going to distract today by surprisingly, it's our anniversary this week. So, it's funny, isn't it? You have these kind of things, and it's amazing how the nicest of things can become pressures. Because, of course, I don't want to be a disappointment because I'm feeling like this, but she wouldn't view it like that. It's all my making, isn't it? It's all what goes on in our own heads. So much of what is our problem is what's going on in our own heads. It's not really what other people say. I mean, even with trolls and things like that, if you want a moment of compassion for trolls, it's their own shit. Hurt people hurt, and and hurt people hurt themselves a lot. So yeah. Anyway. Now, the first thing I just wanted to ask you guys, we talked about it on a Sunday show a while back, and I keep seeing I just saw the John Barrowman story bubbling around. This story is, for those of you who aren't from Britain, John Barrowman is we've worked with him. He was incredibly engaging, he was fun, he was silly, incredibly camp actor, famous for Torchwood, Doctor Who, all that kind of stuff. As a sort of party trick, he would flash on sort of TV sets and things like that. The claim being it was all hijinks and silly and tomfoolery. I think tomfoolery is the phrase that he's used. But Laura Lawley, you say he's cancelled. Well, there's talk of him not being employed for Dancing on Ice. ITV have come out and said that's not the case. They haven't. All the comments have stopped. Are we still going? Yeah. I just wanted to know, what do you think of it? What do you think? Sophie R, I'll have a look at false positive. Yeah, that looks good. What do you think? Thank you, Louise Jones. Thank you. Yeah, it's episodic, isn't it? It's episodic. And when you have these little waves up, you want to distract. Like today, I wanted a distraction. I didn't want to just be plodding around in my own head. Lots of people love Barrowman. What do we think? Is it ever okay to flash with tomfoolery? In a sort of act of tomfoolery. I personally don't think it is. We talked about it on the Sunday show one week. I think you may be doing it with no intention to, it's like, I've moonied and stuff like that. You're doing it as an endeavor to entertain and be silly, but you don't know how or what people's histories or sensitivities are around you. And therefore, you've got to. So, in a weird way, I think it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because I've heard that so much of what he did was not predatory. But the problem with it is that it could feel not predatory, but it could feel deeply discomforting and triggering and inappropriate, Ishbel for so many people around them. Now, but this is a historical thing. So, it's a little bit like. In a way, it's a little bit like the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you remember when he was cancelled because of his historic tweets where he was making fun of terrible things? He said he was sorry. He said they were jokes. Is this something that he could own? I can hear a wasp. Let me just go and open the door. Is this something he could own? Have a think. Fire your thoughts. Should he own this? Can we forgive him? Can he looking forward? Can he move on from this? Okay, I know there's cancel culture. But is there scope in today's society for someone who's done what he's done to say, look, I'm really sorry, and it was really inappropriate, and then move on? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that it can be done? Daniel Gaul. It seems a bit odd to be having this conversation about his behaviour years after the event. It has a lot to do with context and we don't really know the full details. Yeah. He would be the first to call out inappropriate behaviour, but if he was the first to call out inappropriate behaviour, perhaps that says even more about the fact that he genuinely didn't feel it was inappropriate. I thought I had a very strong sense of this, but then, sometimes you wonder, cancel culture is, I understand it in certain instances, but is there scope in a situation like this where there's kind of grey area we need to also be able to allow people to say, sorry, my mistake, my bad, let me make amends and let me get on. Just a thought. Vicky Hug, a colleague of mine worked with him and said it was openly known in the business that this is his sense of humour and that his comedy was filth but harmless. But with that argument, you wouldn't discuss any past behaviour. True. Very true. And there's a lot of past behaviour for a lot of people. that, as we know, with the recent situation with the historic sort of abuse of and harassment of schoolgirls, is it everyone's invited? The Instagram account. We are all only humans. Steph for Mind UK. Mistakes are made. We learn and make it right. Yeah, I mean, I think if it can be looked into and it can be sort of well established for many people who encountered it that it wasn't predatory or discomforting, then that's good. Someone say good news about Xander. Is there new news about Xander? I'm still waiting to. So that's toffee. I tell you one thing I have noticed in this recent episode is a heightened sense of hearing. A really heightened sense of hearing. Nice to see you too, Steph Coleman. So that's the John Barrowman story. What about China? What do we think about China? China have sanctioned or have changed their state edict or rule so that, Chris Evans did the same thing, absolutely. So that the birth rate, most families are restricted to having just 2 children. It used to be just 1 child, but now it's 2 children. But they're going to loosen it to 3 because there's a reducing birth rate in China. Just obviously we're floating out of one story. I'm just going to Reese Roberts. We need to let people grow, reform, and change who are willing to correct the error of their ways. Otherwise, we hold people to unattainable levels of perfection, which increases pressure and alienation. And you're absolutely right, Reese. And in a way, will then encourage worse behaviour, I would argue, in other areas of society. So I think Reese Roberts has nailed it to the wall there. Sky Elise, can we all just do another round of applause for Sky Elise? Sky, thank you so much for your lovely pull together yesterday. It's going to become known as, you know how there are the sort of missing episodes or the absent, I don't know, editions in films. It's going to be like, what happened to this episode 72 of the No Name Sunday show? Sky Elise took the reins and she landed the ship in true Han Solo Chewbacca style. So well done, Sky. Obviously, Michelle also popped up another example of me being taught to try and cook something badly, taught questionably by Nads as well. That went up yesterday too. Jenny Ward, I think going back to China, so China have increased the number of children a family can have to 3. I think they've forgotten what they inflicted upon Chinese people. Abortion, sterilisation fines for people who had more than 1 child. Now they're changing their tune. It's a tricky one, this, because upon first sight, my first thinking on this was, oh, crikey. So if the birth rate is falling in China and they want to correct that, and yet China has one of the largest populations on the planet, and the planet is already overpopulated, it can't be good. And I think it's a really difficult conversation, birth rates, and I think it's one that will have to be had by the WHO and the UN at some point. So my first instinct was to go, oh my God, no, this is not great news. This isn't good. We're groaning under the weight of everything. There's dear Michelle. And can we also have another round of applause for Michelle Penny, who has been literally texting me virtually, well, like the truest friend a friend could be. I've been moved, I've been touched, I've been just cradled and held by her in such a lovely, witty, unhysterical way. And I don't think I've been quite so looked after by such a dear friend in such a lovely way, so consistently. So thank you for looking out for me, Michelle. And it's still ongoing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. There you go. Feel the love, Michelle. Feel the love. Leor, big fan of Michelle's. Faith Goodman, 3 children per family is a better idea than 1 due to not wanting girls, but think it should be up to parents if they can afford the children. I just think there's a bigger problem here. I mean, I understand there's individual rights and all of that kind of stuff, but I do think if we keep charging towards the idea that having more and more children, thanks, Michelle, thank you, darling, love the bones of you too. We're going to be in deep doo-doo. We're going to be in caffeine-free coffee. It's like, I don't know what it's like. It's like alcohol-free beer. It's pointless. So that was my initial thought. Deep doo-doo, this isn't good. But then, of course, you're thinking, we can't police the world and just say, China, just because you happen to be the biggest country in the world, you can't do that. We wouldn't let China tell us not to do it. But I do think birth rates in a number of countries are on the decline, aren't they? Lucy Miller, that was your instant concern. Yeah, it was my concern. Hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're enjoying our little chin wag. Thank you very much for joining and keeping me company. It's very sweet. Just pretend it's got caffeine. Yeah, sort of like placebo coffee. So that's John Barrowman and China. Now, a couple of other stories that aren't particularly pleasant, but I don't know why. They just kind of made me think, oh my God. Dog buried alive under rocks in one of worst abuse cases. A dog was buried under a pile of rocks and left for dead in what the Scottish RSPCA has described as one of its worst animal abuse cases. The border collie was saved after his cries were heard by passing hill walkers. Vets who examined the dog found he had multiple skull and jaw fractures and required surgery. He has been named Jake. He has been named Jake and given a new home with an inspector. He was found in the Highlands late last year. Poor little dog, and he's got a little red eye, and he's got a little bent ear. I don't understand how people can be cruel to animals. I literally can't understand it. I just literally can't understand it. The animal welfare charity said that Jake was on the brink of death and needed weeks of veterinary care. I mean, you know, this is one case, and obviously when you have one case like this is just one of many. I genuinely believe we need to return to licenses for dogs. Why would we not want to have dog licenses? I think there needs to be some responsibility. Like if you don't have car insurance, you can't drive. If you don't have a driving license, you can't drive. If you're not car taxed, you can't drive. You know, why not have something around animals? We can chip them, all this kind of stuff. Nicola Higgins, you do in Northern Ireland. That's interesting. So Northern Ireland are a step ahead of the rest of the country there. Louise Jones, people are so disgusting. How hard are they to hurt a dog? Absolutely, really disgusting. Thank you, Helen. Lovely to see you too. So Northern Ireland, why can't we do what Northern Ireland are doing? It makes so much sense. I mean, what would be the reason not to? If we can have a COVID passport, why the hell can't we have a dog license? I mean, I remember, you've got them in New Zealand as well. I remember we used to have them when I was young. I remember my mum having to get one for our first dog, Daly, and it wasn't expensive. I mean, it's just a little token of responsibility, isn't it? So that story sort of chimed out. And then this story, I mean, obviously Nadia and Lisa, Nads rang me last night. She said, Mark, you'd hate it here. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Brighton. I find it a bit too happy, clappy and all that kind of stuff. But the girls love it. Nadia loves it. Nadia's got lots of friends down there. And I love everyone who's there. But I just find Brighton a bit too self-consciously hip in a way that I don't think Bristol is. So I find Brighton I find it agonising. But I also find it so busy. But anyway, Nadia said, the beach is heaving, Mark. You would hate it. Trina Cotton, I'm taking time out, my darling. I just was on my own and I wanted company, Trina. So don't fret. I'm not stressing myself here. This is actually therapy in a way. But yeah, I would be so stressed if Cornwall is packed, Steph for mine. It's very busy, Nicola Randall in Brighton. Gabrielle, I understand people have reacted to large amounts of people on the beach, but we do need to consider as a society when this will be acceptable on June the 21st isn't far away and COVID won't have gone. Trina, you're not in love with Brighton either. But like Nadia said, you see the top shot, which is like when you see the photographs that the papers put out, and it's just like, and they always, hear me on this, because I've shot these sort of shots. You take an angle where you've got virtually no beach between people. But like Nadia said, once she was on the beach, I think there's a photo on one of their Instagrams, Lisa's or something. You know, there's space. Everyone's socially distanced. It's fine. But it's just my idea of hell. But I have to say, I've got a little bit of jealousy because they were sat in a cafe and it looked like they were abroad. But I would hate it, so I have to keep reminding myself I don't have FOMO. I've got to keep telling myself I've got JOMO, joy of missing out. But is there something, has anyone experienced beach rage? It's like car rage, road rage. Oh, Reese, therapy can often work best when you put yourself in the position of just talking out your current feelings when you have them. So this is an excellent decision for your mental health. That's exactly how I felt, Reese, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And also to talk about things that aren't about you. I do find, I hate the self-obsession of mental health. It's a part of it because it's about you. But oh my God. But has anyone else come across beach rage? Beach rage. Well, in Formby Beach, just yards away from Millionaires Row in Sefton, Merseyside, 3 men were stabbed on the beach in an axe and samurai sword fight. Now, I don't want to make light of this because this is a serious incident that happened at 7:10 last night. 3 men were airlifted to hospital following the shocking violence which flared as families enjoyed the beach on one of the hottest days of the year. The lad who was losing the fight, one witness said, pulled out an axe and hit the other lad with it. His mate then pulled out a samurai sword and used that too. When I was a kid, even if there was a bit of beef with other kids, not that there was that much in the 70s, 80s, we'd have a bucket and spade. Who the hell thought to take a samurai sword to a beach? Vicky Edwards asks the absolutely killer question that most people are asking. How do you hide a samurai sword? You must have the longest bag, or maybe you've got it in a surf bag of some form for your surfing board. Why do they have those? An axe and a samurai sword. Now, this makes me wonder, should we have licenses for samurai swords? I kind of feel we should. I mean, I know that they're a part of some oriental, what are they called? Like jiu-jitsu and taekwondo, all that kind of stuff. I get that. Does anyone really need a samurai sword in a country where being a samurai or a ninja is not part of our cultural heritage? Probably in a hold all, yeah. Martial arts, thank you, Pauline Mulvey. See, that's the kind of thing. The file with martial arts in it is in a total mess in my head. Why are you taking them to the beach? They must have known it was going to kick off. Beach brawl horror. Cops were seen on nearby Victoria Road, known as Millionaires Row, home to Premier League football stars. Footage showed one of the stabbing victims was being stretchered to an air ambulance on the beach. Police, this is some heavy-duty detective work here. Police believe the stabbings may have been linked. We know the community of Formby and beyond will be alarmed to hear what has happened and will share our determination to find those responsible and remove them from the streets. So just be careful on the beaches. I think tempers are a little frayed, although everyone's very excited and it's the hottest day of the year today. I might have to go and put some shorts on. But if you're going to a beach, is anyone on a beach today? Is anyone going to a beach today? Yes or no? Hit us with a yes or no. Is anyone like me? I'm a bit of a beach humbug. No, I'm not a fan of, I don't like sand. Ow, got a really tender bit there. I don't like sand. I really don't like sand in my toes. No, just the garden centre. Or if I felt up for the garden centre, I'd go. Pauline Muffin, you're going to the dentist on a bank holiday Monday. Wow. Me, it's on my doorstep, Skyleys. I will enjoy, if it's on your doorstep and you can just get in and get out quick, that's nice, isn't it? Don't like the sun. Barbecue, Becky Brumfeld. Paddling pool. Daniel Gaul, I live near it. We have empty beaches here, 2 thumbs up, baby. Where's that 2 thumbs up, baby? I love the beach, but not here in the UK. I know what you mean. There's something about it in the UK. It's just it becomes a bit high streety. I find our beaches become quite quickly like a high street. And so it's a bit like going down, I don't know, Thornton Heath and sitting outside, I don't know, the Happy Shopper with sand between your toes. We used to go, when I was at college, we used to go out to Whitstable, because I was at college in Canterbury, and we used to go out to Whitstable at night and sit on the beach and drink beers and all that kind of shit. We used to, and it's a stony beach, we used to throw stones, not in the sea, but on the stones onto the stones, and the sparks were so good. Remember that? Sparks, they'd kind of, like when you do a bit of flint. Final story. Now, for anyone who's of a nervous disposition, hit the thumbs up, guys. Do subscribe if you enjoy the channel and enjoy Nadia standing in for us, for me, and you enjoy all our natters. For those of a nervous disposition, you may want to look away now. Has anyone else heard about the Vietnam mass testing around this new variant? I only just caught this morning. Vietnam hopes to tackle a new COVID outbreak by mass testing risk groups in Ho Chi Minh City. The efforts come in response to a new cluster linked to a religious mission. They're saying there's a worry that this variant could be a air trans. Why do people keep saying it's like? So this is a variant that could be a combination of the worst elements of the UK variant or the Kent variant and the Indian variant. They've obviously met at a coronavirus party. They've taken to each other. They've seen something in the other one that the other one hasn't got. They've thought, you know what, let's hitch up together. And they've created what could be a Vietnamese variant. So Vietnam, which were very good at the beginning of closing down borders, I've got every confidence that the Vietnamese authorities will be able to control this. So that's why I'm massively worried. But why do they keep saying things like, is easily transmissible by air? I thought it always was. I mean, it's transmissible by air as long as that air has come from someone who's infected, right? It's always been transmissible slightly by air. It's always been aerosol or droplets. But do they mean, to say that as if this is news, does that mean it's even smaller? It's always airborne, Jenny Ward, isn't it? That's what I don't understand. I sometimes like to take the heat out of the fear and the worry. Going to Whitley Bay, send it my regards. Do they still have the two cyclists, not tandems, but do they have the bikes where you sit alongside each other with a top and you cycle along the seafront? Like Nadia says, I hate variants, Skyleys. That vlog was funny, wasn't it? I like to sort of characterise COVID as a sort of really irritating sort of person at a party. And I just think these two variants have just been attracted to each other. It's not airborne, it passes in droplets. So, yeah, but airborne, if it's airborne, even if it's airborne, this is where I'm going to get a bit scientific now. Even for it to be airborne, it has to have started as something liquidy to begin with. It's come from somewhere. Where has it come from? Mouth? So we're talking about, it's the same transmissibility by air or air droplets. It's just that the droplets are so tiny that you can't see them. Reese Roberts, any new variants will most likely be coming from the huge anti-lockdown protests in Westfield shopping centre yesterday. Why do it at Westfield as well? What a bizarre choice. Anyway, guys, I thought that would be a nice chit chat. So just keep your eye on that. The Vietnamese news. I'm sure the news, all the channels will be wanting to make a huge song and dance about that. And yet at the same time, it's not just a song and dance for the sake of it being a song and dance. We need to always keep our eye on the ball. So let's keep our eye on the ball. Have a lovely day. I'm going to be taking it easy. Go and paint Steph Schultz. Have a lovely bank holiday Monday. As I say, I'm going to be seeing the psych tomorrow, and within time we'll be feeding back to you, and things will be getting back to normal very soon on the channel. Thanks again to everyone for all of your lovely messages. Special shout outs to Sky, to Michelle. Thank you for all you've done in the last couple of days. And thank you all of you for all of your messages on all of the platforms that you've sent through. And yeah, big love. Lots of love, guys. That was enjoyable. Thank you. And that was lovely to have a little bit of a chin wag. And thanks, Reese, for kind of reiterating and confirming in my head that it was the right thing to do at that